Hi Stampers, this is Trevis. Welcome to Video Tuesday. And so today for our video, I'm going to be using a couple of stamp sets that I've had on my shelf, right? That's from the big catalog. Christmas season. Okay, so we're going to be making a Christmas card today, obviously. And Christmas to remember. Okay, so these two stamp sets are in the annual catalog and they are carried over from last year. We love that, right? And there are dies that go with them. I'm not going to be using the dies today, but the dies that coordinate with this is seasonal labels dies. And so if you have this stamp set, it's really cute. It doesn't have any sentiments in it, so but it does have the coordinating dies for all of the pieces. And then Christmas to Remember is really the sentiment set that goes with it. So I'm going to be making a card today. I am going to be making an Inspiration Everywhere card. And a lot of times I get my inspiration from the catalog. And what's interesting about it is that when I'm kind of looking through Pinterest and I'm trying to come up with ideas, looking at stamp sets, sometimes I'll just flip open my catalog and I don't really look at colors. I look at the cards, the layout of the cards, the maybe the way that they are designed. If I flip them a certain way, would they look a lot different? And so this card is actually an inspiration for page 113 of the annual catalog. It's not a Christmas card, but I like the layout of the card and I thought, let's jazz it up and make something different. So today we're going to be using a lot of stamp pads because this stamp set really requires a lot of different inks. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, I am going to be using as my card base Crushed Curry. Crushed Curry cardstock is, I don't know, it's a warm color. It's can be fall, can be Christmas. I love it. It's much warmer than any other yellow, I think. Okay, so the card that's in the catalog is, actually they use like the Granny Apple Green, okay? So it's obviously not a Christmas card, but if you look on page 113, you'll see the card that inspired this. I did cut some strips of Crushed Curry cardstock, and I'm going to trim these down, but these are 1-inch strips. Okay, so I'm going to make these different sizes. I am going to use an embossing folder on this as my cardstock base. They did not. They just used a straight up 4.25 by 8.5 piece. But I'm going to, I'm sorry, did I say 4.25? 5.5 by 8.5. Gosh, I'm losing my mind. 5.5 by 8.5. Fold it in half. I'm going to use Merry Melody. This is a 3D embossing folder. And so when you run this through your cut and emboss, you do need to use plate 4. Okay, so plate 4 and your platform is all you need to run this through. But you always want to make a sandwich. Always, always, always make a sandwich. So even if you're using an embossing folder or a die, you do want to run it through using, putting that between two items. So this is the platform, one, your embossing folder, and then that. Okay, so I'm going to put this through, and so I don't know a whole lot about music, but I do know that I think I looked this up, that this is the top of the music. So I'm going to run it through this way. I'm just going to line this up like that. Put it on my platform. Did I move it? I don't think I did. Nope. And then my plate 4 on top. Okay, so I'm going to run this through, give it some texture. Okay. All right. So now my cardstock base is even cuter, right? So there's my base. And now, as I said, I'm going to cut these strips, and I'm going to cut them different lengths. I'm probably going to make this one about, well, let's see. I'll probably make this one maybe somewhere around 3.5. maybe make this one a little bit bigger. So I'm going to cut this one about there. I'm going to make them different sizes. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a couple of them about the same size. A couple of them a little bit, maybe a little bit shorter. No, that's about the same size. A little bit shorter. And like that. Okay. So I have those ready to go now, and I'm just going to lay these on over my cardstock base. Before I do that, I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back because I'm going to pop these up. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals on the back. And if you have scraps, you know what would also be cute is designer series paper. That's kind of a cute idea, actually. So you could just have extra strips of designer series paper, and you could just use those. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere these, and I'm going to kind of stagger them different ways. Oh, that's the same size. I'm going to put different size next to that big long one. Okay. Like that. This one. This one. Okay. So I've kind of given it another extra dimension, right? All right. So I was looking good. Now I have a piece of white cardstock, and this is what I'm going to do all my stamping on. Okay, so I want to make sure that that's going to be actually enough edging, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so ready? I'm going to use a lot of different stamps. Okay, so I'm going to bring over some blocks. My blocks need to be cleaned. I can see that. So this stamp set has a large... oh my gosh, losing my mind. You know what it's called. Can't think of it. And the small ones. Okay, so I'm going to use the small one for, I'm going to use the small ones on this because this isn't a very big piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to use the small one. Okay, so this is soft suede. What I want to do with this is actually a two-step stamp. So I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to stamp it, okay? And I'm going to do that again. Stamp off. And stamp. Okay, so I'm going to clean my stamp because I'm going to need to use this block again. And now this is the second stamp. So this is going to give the pine cone. Hello, Trevis. It's called a pine cone. Once you stop trying to think of what you're trying to say, it'll come to you. So this actually gives it the dimension. See how cute that is? All right. I'm not going to use the big pine cone. I'm just going to use the small one. Okay, so can you see how cute that is? All right, now I'm going to use some of these different leaves. And I'm going to use some different... I think I'm done with the soft suede. So I'm going to use some Evening Evergreen. Evening Evergreen is one of the in colors that is going to be going away in June. So sad, because I love this color. It's such a rich color. Rich and beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this. Actually, where am I going to stamp this? I'll just stamp it right there. Can overlap. I want some overlapping anyway. Okay, just want one of those. And then I'm going to use this one. Okay, so this is actually designed. This is a two-step stamp, and it's actually designed to coordinate with another stamp here. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I thought it was. Oh, I see what it is. Yes. It's actually designed to coordinate with this stamp. Okay, it's two-step, but I'm going to use it separately. Why not, right? So I am going to use my crushed curry now, and I'm just going to add some crushed curry in here. Maybe a little bit down here. So you see I'm kind of going off the cardstock. And I'm kind of keeping it to this side, right? I'm keeping it to the left. And I am going to use this one. So this stamp I'm going to use with my garden green. Just love how all these colors play well together. Make sure I get that inked up all the way. Oh, so cute. I think I might do another little piece of this one right here. There we go. So garden green is just a little bit brighter than evening evergreen. And then I'm going to bring in some berries. And I think with this one I'm going to, this is a two-step stamp also. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bring this up here like that. And bring in the berries. I'm going to just stamp the berries in cherry cobbler. Okay, it's a little tricky because you have to line this up properly. There we go. Yes, that's right. So if you line it up properly, the berries are on the stem, which I think is so pretty. Okay. Now I think I'm going to just add a little bit of greenery. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to use garden green, but I'm going to stamp it off. So I'm going to bring in some of that. Just make it really busy. I want it to be full. Okay, I don't want it to be like gappy. And then I have these little speckles. Actually, I could use a smaller block, but that's okay. And I could do the speckles in crushed curry. So I need a little crushed curry over here, I think. And maybe a little bit down here. Yes. I think it's close. I'm liking it. I don't know. I don't want to have too much going on over here because I'm going to put a sentiment over here. Okay, I'm going to add that in a minute. I think I'm liking it, actually. I think I'm done looking at it, and I like it. Okay, so I'll clean my stamps as I go along. Now, for my sentiment, I just want to use this little Mary, tiny little Mary from Christmas to Remember. So I am going to use a piece of cherry cobbler. Don't have a lot of cherry cobbler going on here, but I'm going to use cherry cobbler, and I'm going to use it with black ink. And I am going to use the tiniest little punch you've ever seen. This little tiny punch coordinates with an alphabet set, and it's called Best Label. And so I'm just going to punch this out of that. It's perfect for this little word. All right. Okay, now I'll clean this off. Okay, time for assembly. It's my favorite part of card making is assembly. I have a piece of Evening Evergreen, and what I'm going to do is just use that as a layering piece. So this piece, if you're interested in size, okay, so this is actually 2.5 by 3 1/8. And then the Evening Evergreen would be 3, just a little over 3 1/4. So like 3 3/8 by 2 5/8. Those would be my dimensions. I'm not not going to pop this up because I have already popped up this layer. It already has the dimension going on, so I'm not going to pop this up. And then I'm just going to add my little Mary, kind of like right here. Okay. And I think I'm done. I could add some more, you know, like gold, maybe some little gold embellishments, but I don't really think it needs it. So I hope you enjoyed this card today. It's an easy card because really all you're doing is a lot of stamping and it's really fun. So hope you enjoyed this and I will see you on Friday. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.